oh, you stressing me out. Oh, let me go smoke. Oh my God. I'm just like, okay, you ranting, doing all that. So I'm like, cool. So the final thing, this is what got me. They said, okay, thanks for sending it. I'll have to if I have to edit it, I'll just edit it, whatever. And so then they said, so they owed me $90, and it was like, hey, so can I just give you 30 because I did the first, I had to redo the one first part and then it's part of the second part. And so at first I said no, because that's not how that works. And I'll explain. And they was like, what do you mean? So something came over me. Some came over me and it said, just take that $30. That's okay. So I said, you know what? That's fine. I'm gonna take $30. I'm gonna feel like a blessing day. So they sent $30 and then I blocked dude. All right, y'all. What's going on? It's your boy Easy Bake Oven. What's up, y'all? So today it's a little different. All right. Now, yeah, I used to hear ads run through my stuff for other people. All right. This is probably the first real time the ad is for me. All right. So PSA, Prodigy Sport Advantage Stations, has expanded far beyond just the podcast. It is now a writing service. All right. And at that, a ghostwriting service. So we do it anonymously and take care of your needs. All right. Homework assistant, product and profile descriptions, grant writing, resumes, cover letters, templates, books, ghostwriter book too. Anything you can think of, articles, all that good stuff. PSA, the Ghostwriter Solution, can do it. So go over to psathepodcast.com and you can see all the services there with all their descriptions. Okay, because I know I missed some. And also you can reach out to me at theprodigyperspective@gmail.com and we can take care of all of that for you too. Peace. Yo, you're going on, everybody. And just like that, we're here for another episode. Now, can you believe this episode and next week, and we're done? We are done with season 7, and what a season it's been. You know, the platform has been growing like never before. You know, big ups to, y'all for keeping up and tapping in with that, and, and the exposure I feel like that I'm being put into, I guess. I don't know if I said that right, but it is what it is. Either way, y'all, just kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit. So I'm actually recording this at 2:26 in the morning and about to go catch a flight, not a feeling. So if you keep up with my vlog, you'll be able to see where I'm going because, well, yeah. But by the time this episode comes out, I think the vlog won't be out yet, but this will be that. So you'll have to catch the vlog. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, what are you doing? Subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's going up, and that's how we doing that. But all right, y'all. This is the first solo episode I've had in a while, and I'm pretty excited about that. As I've told y'all last week, and now I'm telling y'all today. Last week shout out to my boy Eric McHugh. It was a great episode, and now today is the first part of a 2-part mini series as we ending off the season. Now I told y'all I was bringing Industry Plant back, but God had said otherwise, so here we are. And today's episode is the first part, which I said, which I'm saying again, this is the first part of the As a Man series. And I'm excited to do this, and the inspiration for this series just comes about how, God, first of all, it was crazy how the revelation came, but also too, you know, when people say, you hear like them quotes by women and it like, as a man, why are you doing this? So we're taking those phrases, and we got just two, because this week and next week. And we're just kind of unpacking some things. And even if some things, like they say as a man, why are you doing this? Some things I do agree with. So I'm typically on one side of the ball for each, but we're gonna, of course, unpack both. So let's get into this week's meme. The meme reads, as a man, why are you blocking people? All right. Inspiration for this week comes from, first of all, a quote by Tiphani Montgomery, where she was like, words don't have a sense of humor. And I'll break down what that means as we get along with today's episode. Proverbs 8:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. All right. So not too many inspirations this weekend. And obviously I kind of gave my inspiration for this series. So I guess that counts as inspiration too, right? I think kind of. Something like that. All right, y'all. So I'm alone. So you know what that means. Let's jump into today's story time. This story time is called The Blocker. Armando was a blocker. Anytime you said something to him he didn't like, he was going to block you. Whether you argue with him about his favorite team, block. When you went against what he thought about his favorite artist, block. Whenever you didn't answer the phone after the third ring, block. It didn't matter what that mean or how he felt, he was going to block you. This was until one day when he met the girl of his dreams. They talked and on the phone all day, every day. Even if she didn't agree with him, he didn't block her. One day, things went a little different. As him and her were having a discussion about politics, they had a big heated argument. They took a break and he went to text her. And as he went to text her, he then realized that he was not blocked. All right, so now let's get into the lessons from the story. So the lessons from the story are: one, any and everybody can get it. Two, some people won't learn until they're blocked. Which any and everybody can get it. Like anybody can get a block. Like the block ain't got no name on it. A block is gender neutral. So then some people won't learn unless they are blocked. From his angle, you know what I mean? He was blocked. Now, of course, we didn't get into his feelings, but one could assume as a person who met a girl, and he stopped blocking people. Now he was blocked, and you kind of like, dang, like he see how I feel, especially when he probably felt like it wasn't that serious. But sometimes we don't learn stuff. It really ain't that deep, or it's kind of extra until we on the other side. And I think when him being on the other side, he was able to kind of see like, dang, this is a little extreme. All right. So keep that in mind moving forward. And we're definitely going to unpack blocking today. So be prepared for that. All right, y'all. Let's get into the next segment, which is the happy hour. Now, before we get too deep in the episode, it's two topics I want to talk about. And I put these in my notes a while ago. So I'm pretty excited to talk about them clearly, because if they was in my notes that long ago. All right. So first thing we're going to talk about is people who still take middle finger pictures. Now, I told y'all many years ago, and I said this, and I did say it. I said, once we get to 25, we need to let the middle fingers go. And now pushing 30, I see people still at this age and a little older still putting up middle fingers. Now, some people may say, well, Izzy, that ain't got nothing to do with you. That ain't your business. You worry about the wrong thing. And you might be right. But as a society, we got to let the middle fingers go. There is no reason why we still doing this in all our pictures. There's no reason. There's no for what? Some may argue, they may say, F the world, I gotta let the world know. What you gotta let them know that they ain't letting them know nothing. You wasting your time. It's a little childish to me. Like, it was cool back in the day. If I might try to find a picture of me doing it when I was like 20. I think I'm gonna add that. But I just feel like we gotta let that go. And it now, unless you like a rapper or maybe like a famous YouTuber, kind of, because now that genre is kind of crossing over, because some of them be looking like rappers sometimes too. But we need to let that go. And I want you to tell me, and I want somebody to tell me, why is it that you feel like I want to put up a middle finger? Like, why? I heard the whole F the world thing, but what's the other reason? Because I feel like it's another reason somewhere. So let me know about that. The next thing that I'm gonna speak on is, again, another situation where people might feel like, what's up? Oh, when people say, and people might say, oh, you need to worry about the wrong thing. When the theory of I'm working, hear me out. So, people are like, oh, I'm working. I'm always working. I'm always working. I'm always working. I think that stems from the desire that I'm moving in silence and want people to know I'm moving in silence. And if you're working, let the work work. Let the work speak. I don't feel the need for you. You don't need to have the mindset of, I need to tell everybody what I'm doing. I make moves. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing that. And I've always been that way. And the results speak for themselves. You know what I'm saying? we're going into 2024, and my YouTube channel went from 3 something and it's going up. Now, did I pay for subscribers? No. But you have to tune into the vlog to tune in and see how I did it. Okay. And my theories and rationales as to why I think it happened. But I think that we just work in silence. Why do you need to tell people what you're working on? Why do you need everybody's opinion on something? I just feel like we got to get over that we want people to approve of what we're doing. And I do think it's some part of a rejection thing. But I really believe we want people to approve what we're doing. And until you get okay with people not caring about what people think about what you're doing, I feel like you're gonna be you're just gonna be in a constant state of seeking just to approve to people, not approve to people, but to what's I'm looking for to I can't get it out, but you know what I'm thinking. You know what I'm thinking, right? So them there's two little mini topics I want to talk about. Now we can kind of get back into the swing of things. So again, y'all, now this is actually my favorite stage for real. It's just I can't do it all the time. But let's get into QTNA, which is questions that need addressing. All right, so let's get into the first question. First question: why is blocking considered a feminine trait or a female trait, you might say? I think that when people block people, like the story, it's kind of like you getting your emotions blocked, and it's like the way of getting the last word. I think that's what it is. It's like, oh, you said something pissed me off, block. Now I got the last laugh because now I can't hear from you. And I knew somebody that said they used to get mad, have a long, they used to say like a whole thing to somebody, like a whole essay to somebody, and then block them. And it's like, what is the reason for that? That's something I think we should keep in, like, wonder, like, what is the reason for that? Oh no, I think that's something you need to think about. But I think that a lot of times when we think of blocking, we think of a woman just getting mad, getting emotional, and just saying, "Get away from me." So I think maybe that's what it is. And blocking is not just social media; this is just your number too. Second thing, as a man, have you blocked the woman and why? So everyone knows this. Yes, I've told this story before, but I'm gonna tell it again. Some years ago, it was a lot of stuff going on, and a friend of mine had texted me, talking to me crazy, calling me out my name, all this other type of stuff, and I didn't go back and forth, so I just blocked her because my logic is: you're not gonna text my phone talking to me crazy. Two, you're not gonna text my phone cussing me out. Three, the situation you're talking about, you've already made a decision. So it's not one of those, oh, I'm expressing myself and you blocked me, because that's not okay. It was, I'm expressing myself, but I took a side in the situation, and I'm being the accuser of the brethren, and I'm accusing you of something. So I'm going to accuse you. I'm going to terrorize you, and then I'm going to call you out your name. Yeah, no, because at this point she was irate, and there was nothing I could say that would change her mind in that moment. So I said, okay, let me block you, because now if I go back and forth with you, I'm gonna look like the crazy person. You see what I'm saying? You see how it's a lose-lose? So keep that in mind. And sometimes I do believe some people need to block people just because y'all need some space, because sometimes it could go left. I've actually blocked people before because it's like, okay, this conversation going left. Let's end it here, because I'm done talking about it. You steadily texting me or calling me. So let me block you because you won't be quiet. Another situation that happened at the beginning of this podcast, where a friend of mine, felt the way about something. Well, we're not friends anymore, and she began to attack me via social media. Yeah. So, and then this one was tagging me and stuff, and all this type of stuff, and just, derogatory, you know, captions, and just things that were just inappropriate and disrespectful. So I'm gonna block you. Because again, if I go back and forth, I'm gonna look like the weak one. As a man, why are you going back and forth with a woman? And that's a good one. That's a good one. The third one: have I blocked anyone in the last 30 days? Yes, and I'm ready to tell my story. So, as we all know, PSA, the ghostwriter solution, it's been doing this thing. And I had a friend of a friend. So, a friend of mine who's also a client has sent people my way. And everyone he sent my way has been cool. He sent somebody else my way. And so let me break down what happened. So basically, he sent somebody my way, and in the midst of sending somebody my way, the person had decided they needed something done, right? And this person sent me the assignments, and it was like three different things. They sent me that thing that they needed done, and I did one of them, and it was like, oh, I had to edit some stuff and change some stuff because I followed the rubric, but they were saying that it needed to have this too. I said, okay, cool. So then the second one, it was kind of the same thing. And I said, so then I said, and then I could tell it was getting a little sassy. So I said, well, in the future, let's, because it's one thing when a rubric says something, but it's also stuff you want that wasn't on, for the requirements. So I'm like, okay, well, save you some time. If you wanted a certain way on top of that, then say that, because now, I take my deposit first. Anybody with a business take half the deposit first, always, because you might get the one like this. So just hold on. And so at this point, then so we do that part, right? So then finally we get to the last one, and then they were just like, oh, I'm gonna just do oh, this part. Now, part of this was my fault because it was still some parts that wasn't not necessarily done right, but it was like it had to be a certain way. And it was a very one of those assignments where it was very like, the teacher was nitpicking, but then the person also themselves was a nitpicker too. So it was just like, okay, well, these are easy fixes, let me fix them. Oh, you stressing me out. Oh, let me go smoke. Oh my God. I'm just like, okay, you ranting, doing all that. So I'm like, cool. So the final thing, this is what got me. They said, okay, thanks for sending it. I'll have to if I have to edit it, I'll just edit it, whatever. And so then they said, so they owed me $90, and they was like, hey, so can I just give you 30 because I did the first, I had to redo the one first part, and then it's part of the second part. And so at first I said no, because that's not how that works. And I'll explain. And they was like, what do you mean? So something came over me. Some came over me and it said, just take that $30. That's okay. So I said, you know what? That's fine. I'm gonna take $30. I'm gonna feel like a blessing day. So they sent $30, and then I blocked dude. Now, why did I block dude? Here's the thing. I've been working with clients throughout the years. Many people, many different type people. Many people come back. Some people was a one-time thing. It is what it is, right? And I don't do well with difficult people in any circumstance, especially not in one like that. And you were extremely difficult. You were nitpick. I don't do well with nitpickers and people who are difficult. So you might say, "Oh, I'm the one in the wrong." Well, again, I've done this for over 6 years now, and I can probably count on one hand how many clients was just nitpicking and difficult. And one of them nitpicking difficult part people, it was a girl, a lady. I did her stuff several times, and she was nitpicking. So I just don't do well with nitpickers. So I just think we can agree to disagree, move on. I blocked because I felt myself saying something disrespectful, and I didn't want this man to text me back talking crazy. You just never know. I just said, I'm gonna block you. I blocked the email too because I want to pass the test. So that's where I'm at with that. So you take that how you want to take it. I don't really care, but I did it. So all right, y'all. Now let's move into the next segment for the day, which we widely want to know, what does blocking have to do with mental health? Well, guess what? It has a lot to do, because I got some statistics. So let's get into that. With what does this have to do with mental health? All right, so now the impact of social media use, particularly in terms of blocking people, on the mental health of young millennial men, can be understood through various perspectives. All right, so let's get into it. Now, these first three is four sources of four things, and the first three come from what is the link between social media use and mental health. The first is association with poor mental health. Okay. It says that heavy social media use has been consistently linked to poor mental health. Young adults who are heavy social media users are almost 3 times more likely to be depressed than occasional users. This suggests that behaviors like blocking people on social media, often a byproduct of heavy use and negative interactions, might be linked to mental health challenges like depression and low self-esteem. So again, blocking people because you're 3 times more likely to be depressed. And I could see that. I think more so too. A lot of cases when you block somebody, again, it's kind of an emotional thing, and it might just be, and we'll get more into it. But sometimes you see too much, you like, I don't feel like seeing this today. But so unfollowing is the better thing to do in a situation like that versus blocking. Because typically when you block somebody, you don't want them to reach out to you. You get what I mean? But that maybe this is me. The second one is passive use of mental health issues. Research shows that passive use of social media, such as observing others' profiles and posts, can lead to feelings of envy, resentment, and FOMO. These experiences can negatively affect self-esteem and well-being, especially if a person feels isolated or excluded, leading to actions like blocking others as a coping mechanism. So, if you're envious of something or you feel a way about something, you may block somebody. And I think of an example of that of like, oh, this is a good one. Say all my vacations I be taking with my friends, and somebody blocked me because they don't want to see that because they jealous they couldn't go. And I've had heard people say like they either mute me when I'm out of town and stuff because they're like they just can't look at that. And like I said again, like I said unfollowing is the other one, but there also is a mute, and sometimes the knowing the difference when to mute, when to unfollow, and when to block. But blocking is still necessary though in some cases. It says the impact of social comparison. Social media often portrays unrealistic positive version of life, leading to faulty social comparisons. When young millennial men perceive others as leading more fulfilling lives, it can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt, potentially exacerbating the need to block others to manage these emotions. I get it. Again, it's one of those situations where, like I said, in that case, I think blocking is extreme. But maybe you do see future life and you want to be like future, and you like, I gotta block you because I don't even want you to pop up on my explore page. I don't want to potentially even see you. Nobody putting you in a story. You know what I mean? Like, say for instance, just we'll use real people, right? So, say for instance, it's somebody you just can't stand, which happens. You just can't stand them, and somebody posts this person in their story and you don't follow them, but every time you see them you ain't healed all the way, so you cringe up, you gnarl up, you ain't forgave, and you ain't let it go. Every time you see them you tense up. Maybe you might say I need to block that profile because I don't want, because some people say, oh, I'm not blocking because, well, I'm getting to that because I'm gonna get ahead of myself. But anyway, people may say, oh well, or you may say, I don't want to see nothing they got going on. Let me block because I don't even want to be tempted to be mad or anything. You know what I'm saying? So it could be stuff like that too, I believe. Then the fourth one, obviously, is kind of what we're leading up to: increased anxiety and depression, according to the effects of social media on millennials' mental health. The rise in social media use among millennials correlates with increasing levels of anxiety, depression, and other mental health conditions. For young men who feel like outliers, the pressure of social media interactions and perceived need to block others for various reasons may contribute to these mental health challenges. And ain't nothing, we keep talking about social media, but ain't nothing like a mental health challenge of when the bill collectors is calling your phone, the scammers is calling your phone, the scam likelies is calling your phone. Now that's a block. You need to block them for sure. The people calling for your social security, call your phone. At this point, if the student loan people call my phone, they're getting blocked. I'm not paying that back. I'm not paying that back. Why, for what? What am I paying back from student loans for? I'm gonna block y'all because y'all can block out this money. Y'all got debt, just cancel it. You know what I mean? So if they call my phone, I'm not answering, and that's just that. I don't care what none of y'all say. If the student loan people call my phone, I'm not answering. Hang it up. Fine, get somebody else to do it. I ain't doing it. I'm not paying it. So, there's that. And honestly, that the student loan people calling can lead to increased anxiety and depression because now the average person is thinking, where am I getting this money to pay these loans off at? I still believe something gonna crash and all the money just gonna disappear. All the debt just gonna disappear. So stay tuned. Let's see what happens in the next few weeks in 2024. All right, y'all. Now let's jump into the next segment, which I'm just debating with myself today, but I challenge that. Now, as I stated earlier, when it comes to blocking people, and then of course we got to flip the narrative, and there's like, are there times when we shouldn't block people? You know. Now, one thing I know some people say is, and we're gonna unpack this. People be like, I don't block people because I want you to see what I'm doing and cry. And people, I don't block people. I don't have time for that. And I want them to see my success. And although I agree with that to an extent, you never know who a monitoring spirit is. Let me explain. You never know who is taking what you're doing and going back and reporting stuff or speaking curses or ill will, having ill will over things that you're doing. You really never know. You know, Also, when I was talking about blocking people, block them little porn bots, and I saw one that was like the witch's brew or something. Block all that. You just really don't know. I blocked them ones on Instagram, especially with the satanic priest talking about, oh, the occult and let me see into your future and read. No, I block all that. If you playing the tarot cards, you gotta block you too. Even if you look like a nice person, because you got some doors open I don't need in my life. I had enough doors open, I don't need no more. So we have to watch that too. But again, when are the times we shouldn't block people? Yes. I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but I will say in situations where you are having a disagreement or somebody might have said something disrespectful, I just say, just give them a little break first. And like I said, that's when you have to know the difference between to unfollow, to mute. Let's go down the hierarchy. So the low end is mute, blocking is the high end. So it's mute, unfollow, block. Knowing when to mute, when to unfollow, and when to block. So let's get into it. So when considering the dynamics of communication, especially in the context of young millennial men, there are certain situations where blocking someone may not be the most constructive choice. Here are 4 examples of such scenarios. It says when differences are tolerable, it's natural to encounter people with differing views or lifestyles on social media. For instance, if you're passionate about a certain political figure or dietary choice and someone else has an opposing view, it might not always be necessary to block them. In fact, engaging with a variety of perspectives can be enriching and fosters tolerance. However, if someone's views are causing you to significant stress and impact your mental health, it might just be then justifiable to block then and to protect your well-being. So again, I think about politics. People really getting wrapped up in that. I seen a girl that was like, if you support Trump, we cannot be friends at all. I'm gonna block you. I'm not listening to that. Like some people really get upset. Like I know when the COVID thing was going on, and I think it was some people that blocked me because of my views. And where some people will be like, oh, like me, I can see stuff I don't agree with and just kind of mute them or just kind of ignore them. Everybody can't do that because everything don't need a block. I feel like the only time you need a block for real is me personally. We're going to, of course, unpack an episode, but me personally, I really only block people when they harassing me. Again, i.e. the social media, bots, the spam callers, the people texting my phone, calling me on my name, harassing me, trying to accuse me. That I gotta block you then because at this point you harassing me. So I got to. The second one is in situations of potential reconciliation. If there's a possibility of mending a relationship, whether it's romantic, friendly, professional, outright blocking might shut down avenues of future communication and reconciliation. It's important to assess if the relationship has potential for a positive resolution or is beneficial to keep the lines of communication open for resolving issues. Now, say for instance, if you're going into a new chapter in life and you may block everybody from your old life. People may say that's extreme, but you may be one of them people where you have to say, I have to do those extremes. I have to cut people off completely because if I don't, I'm going to go back down that road I don't want to go to, whether it was a toxic relationship, a toxic friendship, or you maybe don't drink no more. You may not smoke no more. You may not party no more. You know what I'm saying? These people are going to lead you back down that road. And maybe you tried to set those healthy boundaries and they just couldn't do it. They just couldn't receive that. Now, again, like the post says, there are times where if there's possible resolution in the future, but maybe for this season, we even challenging in the challenge, y'all. You might need to say, I gotta shut that down because I can't go there with you. It's like Sierra 56, you can't leave them alone. All right, the third one says when empathy and understanding are needed. In certain situations, it may be more beneficial to practice empathy and try to understand the other person's perspective, especially if there's misunderstanding or minor disagreement. Apologize when necessary. It's always good. Taking responsibility for your action, looking for a win-win solutions that address both parties' needs can be more constructive than blocking. Again, let's get into the whole. I want to unpack the phrase "I need my peace." A lot of times we overuse the peace thing. We overuse it because we come from the angle of I need my peace. So I'm gonna block you because you're not bringing me peace right now. When a lot of times people are just holding you accountable. A lot of times people are telling you about yourself and you just can't receive it. Sometimes people can't receive it based on the messenger, but I always say this and I'm gonna keep saying this. Before you get mad at something somebody say, hold it up to the light and say this: are they right? If they wrong, if they right, then you need to live. They wrong, then okay, they wrong. But if they right, you might need to get out that mindset of, well, I ain't like they approach, or they could have worded it better, or you basically just didn't like who it came from. And that's a PP. That's a personal problem. That's something you need to work with yourself. But again, at the same time, I get too, even with that, where it's like, well, if it comes from this person who doing the same thing, you gonna might probably get offended because you like, well, I'm not listening to them because they don't know and they do the same thing. But we could be all day with that. But ultimately, my always go to answer is they are if what they're saying is true. I don't know. All right. The last one. For in cases of professional educational needs. Blocking someone in professional educational context might not be advisable, especially if you need to maintain communication for work or academic collaboration. In these instances, setting boundaries and having clear, respectful communication might be more effective. Now, when I left not my most, I'll just say when I left the job, I blocked everybody's number because I didn't want to have nothing to do with them people. But you can't be at work blocking coworkers that you work with. No, you can't be doing that. You can't do that. Now, you might be saying, well, either you block somebody, you worked what I did, but that's because I decided that the relationship was over and that the business relationship was over. And was it extreme? Maybe. It might have been. I'm not saying it wasn't, but I had to because I just felt you was already kind of getting under my skin, and I just felt you was gonna say something that was gonna really just take it left. And I just said, I need my blessings. I'm not trying to have nothing to where the devil can use against me in the courtroom. Like, look, see, he did this, and now that he did something wrong. So I said, you know what? Now I'm just gonna have to block you and go about my day. And I feel pretty good about it to this day. If I'm wrong, I'll come back and say, hey, I shouldn't have did that. But right now, I feel good about it. What would you do in this situation? I'm just not just an advocate. I'm just not, too fond of people texting me, talking to me crazy. I'm just all for, not what you say, how you say it. And now, you might be saying, well, Izzy, you just said if what they saying was true, it don't matter how they said it, right? You're absolutely right. So let's talk about that. So even though with his case, stuff he was saying was true, but at the same time, the dude is also a writer. He said he writes his paper, he just didn't have time. The issue though too was he wanted it a certain way on top of the rubric. So it was like, okay, you was wanting too much. And then you was just too difficult. I feel like that differs when it's in the workspace versus someone telling you about yourself. Again, in some of the instances, he was right, which I said he was, but at the same time, and I'm not making excuses, but at the same time, it was just like, yeah, you want too much and just your temperament. We just not gonna jail, and yeah, y'all let me know. I'm sure somebody will be trying to pick that apart. So y'all let me know what y'all think about that. All right, now let's move into the next segment, which is the weekly sabbatical. And in this segment, we reflect. That's what we do here. That's what we're supposed to do, right? I think so. So let's get into what I talked about earlier when I said words don't have a sense of humor. Now, Tiffany Montgomery is known for saying that, and something that I've been really working on, especially with my back stuff recovering and just issues that I've had in my body. I used to say use the phrase you get on my nerves. At this point, I try not to say that because words do have power and they don't have a sense of humor. And if you say stuff like, I used to be the king of, oh, I'm dead, and I stopped saying that, or oh, you get on my nerves, or oh, you're killing me. Like, you really have to stop saying stuff like that because you are coming into agreement with that stuff. You might say it's not that serious, but it really is. And now these things start to manifest in some crazy way because here's the thing: words don't have a sense of humor, right? So look at it like this: what's the difference between you being in your mirror, decreeing affirmations over yourself? Remember, because words have power, right? So what's the difference between that and you saying, I'm dead, I'm dying, you're killing me? How is your subconscious gonna know you're just talking? How is your spirit man gonna know you just talking? How is the atmosphere and the demons looking to get you gonna know you just talking? How they gonna know that? Oh, he just talking. This is a joke. They don't. There is no difference. And even like some of these songs we listen to, you coming into agreement with the things they saying. You know, you think about that old Chris Brown song, and they was talking about him being damaged, and you decreeing it over yourself, and then you wonder why you damaged for real. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking Chris Brown; he makes great music. I'm just using that as a reference. So it's things like that you got to keep in mind, and you know, just keep that in mind. So that's what I mean by words don't have a sense of humor. Now, even with that, you have to be conscious of you just have to be conscious of a lot of stuff. And I'm gonna just leave it at that for real. All in all, it's just this there are times when you probably, we have to have the block button ready. And even also, like I said, remember when I was talking about them, you just never know somebody might be in your DMs speaking stuff. That's why too you gotta keep and people really think it's not this serious, but it is, y'all. Like I said earlier about the whole satanic priest thing or like those tarot card people, you might be doing some stuff. And these people watching your stories now. And of course, you can't catch everybody, but you can catch the ones you can see you need to catch. And say, for instance, they talking about, you got working on some stuff and somebody sitting behind a computer you know, trying to stop some or trying to crease some fail. And although it may not necessarily fail, it still may bring about unnecessary, attacks that you didn't need and unnecessary just stuff you wasn't trying to go through or deal with. That's something you need to keep in mind. That's something you need to keep in mind for real. All right, y'all. So as we kind of winding down today's episode, as a young millennial man, which is what you are, there are several reasons why blocking people on social media and just in general can be beneficial decision for mental health and well-being. So these come from several sources. And we talked about both angles today. We talked about blocking, what it has to do with mental health. We talked about, challenging and saying at times where we shouldn't block people. So now let's get into some reasons to do it and why this can be a beneficial decision. So it says the first one, reducing pressure for perfection. Social media often creates a false standard of perfection as people tend to share only the positive aspects of a life. This can lead to mental distress among young adults who are trying to figure out their identity. Blocking accounts that contribute to this pressure can help reduce anxiety and depression linked to these unrealistic standards. Now, I'm going to challenge that because I don't believe we should necessarily block those types of website or social media. Now, numbers wise, because but then in the same breath it's kind of like and this, say for instance you are hating on somebody or you are envious, you might have to block that because you just can't look at them. Like maybe it's somebody dating somebody you want to date and it's like I gotta block this because I can't look at that because maybe so maybe if you're acknowledging the hater in you, and when I say that I ain't trying to be shady, I'm being for real, because everybody might have a little hater in them at some point. You might like I can't look at this, so okay, maybe. The second one says managing negative social media comparisons and feedback seeking. Engaging in social comparison and feedback seeking on social media can lead to depressive symptoms. For instance, viewing others' photos passively can result in declines in satisfaction. Blocking or people or accounts that trigger these feelings can help protect mental health. Still on the fence, but the third one I agree with wholeheartedly. Preventing bullying and harassment. Due to impulsive nature of young adults, sharing personal stories or intimate photos on social media can sometimes lead to bullying or harassment. Blocking individuals who engage in such behavior is crucial step in protecting oneself from these harmful experiences. I definitely, again, it's kind of like with that man I was talking about earlier. I think it's good because in some cases, if for instance somebody do text you talking crazy or somebody get on that social media talking crazy trying to embarrass you, you might have to block them because one, like I said, I don't want to engage with you and block what I got going on, and two, and especially with social media, in my day I didn't put on enough shows. At this point in my life, I'm not putting on a show, not for free. And I think that when you get into them social media wars, I'm gonna let you look crazy by yourself. I'm not gonna be going back and forth with you at this point in my life. I'm not gonna say never. It's just gonna have to be an extreme time, you know. Oh, well, before we get into that, well, let me do this and then I'm getting to the story. So it might be an extreme case where I might do that, but at this point, that's not my goal. My goal is not to be going back and forth with people. Um, I just don't have that in me. I just don't not on social media, not for free. Because like I said, I told people all the time, you cut me a check, like them TV shows, them debates on YouTube or a podcast. Let's make some money off of it, but for free, nah, I don't see myself doing that. Now I did block. If you watch my vlog, my Thanksgiving vlog, which is still going up to this day. If you watch my Thanksgiving vlog, you did see me go back and forth with the scammer man. Now, I didn't block him because that was funny and I didn't expect him to respond. If you haven't checked that out, go check that out. It's on the Thanksgiving vlog and I went into that. So it's on my YouTube channel. Go check that out. And I didn't block him, but I was trolling him because he was trolling me. And again, Cindy went to Centrail. If you know, you know. The fourth one is limiting exposure to false reality and edited images. Social media can distort how people view themselves and others, leading to issues like poor body image and sense of inadequacy. By blocking sources of these edited, unrealistic images, young adults can foster a healthier self-image and improve overall mental well-being. I defend like that's a case-by-case scenario. I'm firm believer in just certain things you just need to unsubscribe from completely. And you like, for instance, you can't block Twitter, but you need to get off Twitter because Twitter ain't nothing but porn now. And it's the same because it used to be fun back in the day. I mean, it's still fun to some people, but what I'm saying is it used to be like real fun back in the day, but now it just became the porn website. So keep that in mind, people, moving forward. Now, when I think of this last one, it's one Instagram that comes to mind. And I'm gonna give the double whammy with that one. So the one is create. It says the fifth one is creating a more positive online environment. It says regular exposure to negative or stressful content on social media can have a detrimental effect on mental health. Blocking accounts that frequently post content can help create more positive and supportive online environment, which is beneficial to mental health. So the one I think about, especially one that plagues the Black community, is the shade room. Now, there's many other those kind of shady, kind of like pages. And now I utilize the Shade Room and the Baller Alert websites like that when I'm getting content for Mental Man Mondays because we take these information, easy way to get these hot topics, and it's like I tell people, Mental Man Mondays is messy with a purpose because it's taking that stuff that's going on, we unpacking it, and it's for how men should do things right, which that's actually going to start back up at some point in January. So even though season 8 won't be back until probably like sometime in early April. But the thing is with them type of websites or pages, especially, it's a lot. It's a lot because it's nothing but mess. And certain things you just don't want to keep up with all the time. And it can just be nothing but mess. And I get they doing their job, and that's that. But it just can be a lot. And it can be a lot. And I think that those type of pages, people argue that they're not helping the Black community and they making us look bad. And they post some good stuff sometimes, but I don't follow them. But I will go to the page when I'm needing some stuff for that. But I think that I don't want to see that every day. It was a time I did, and if you do, to each his own. But I think that if you talking about creating a healthier environment, I think that's one way to do it. And you may not need to block them, but you may. I don't know. You tell me. All right, y'all, let's get into this week's question. The challenge show says, how do you feel about blocking people? Obviously to the men. And then do you consider this feminine? Why not? And I want you to let me know what you think. Because a lot of people think that's feminine. I don't think it's feminine. I think how you go about it is feminine. If you mean argument, block, yeah. Now I play block when I be like, block, that's different. But like when you just, it's Tuesday, I'm going to block you today. Because, you didn't answer at 9:01 and it's 9:10. Yeah. And I said that right. All right, y'all. That's all I got for this solo episode. Thank y'all again for tuning in. Let me know what you think about blocking people. And what was I about to say? And next week is the final episode and the second part of the As a Man series, which we're getting into. As a man, why do you have OnlyFans? You might say, why do you care? We need to talk about this. We gotta talk about this for several reasons, and we'll get into it next week. Featuring my boy Phenom, who was just on a few weeks ago for Mental Man Mondays, and as well as a good friend of mine. And we finally getting him on the episode because we've been talking about this since 2019. It's 2023, so that's it, y'all. PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And guess what? I love us.